They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So you said that they put millions of my Should a murderer go to jail for murdering?
Absolutely.
Should a thief go to jail when he steals?
Absolutely.
Should a robber pay back the money he robbed?
Absolutely.
So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did?
That's right. That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacles set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never our home, only a place of captivity, saved facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting, the trail of my tears is countless. Main fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angels, be ready to rap. Cracking the sky, nuclear missiles and make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be, slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse.
Blood. All right, Most High in Christ. Let's clap it up. This is the War Report, where you get your monthly news and updates on everything involving World War III, everything that you should be looking for, watching for, preparing, storing up, what's on the updates, everything that you need pertaining to the new conflict of World War III. We are your hosts. I am Officer 5000 Awalumgabar.
Officer 1000 Karyaj Bungad.
And we also got Officer 500 Ra'ash Karab on the ones and twos. Also, if anybody have any questions pertaining to the show, y'all can go ahead and type into the comment section and we'll answer it for you. Let's go ahead and jump into this first topic. You got that video, Ra'ash? Karyaj, you have something you want to add?
No, not right now, sir.
No sweat. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. We got a video that I want to play that gives you a very detailed sense of what real warfare is. A lot of brothers and sisters play Call of Duty or, see a couple things here and there on the news, but it doesn't really register with our people at home what true warfare really is. It's really grimy and gritty and blood and gore. So, we're just going to play this video to give you a sense of what real warfare is. It's a big This is like meaning for the audience that's watching online. Start over, sir. Okay, no sweat.
And these are the final images. His family have given us permission to broadcast them. Here he is at the back of the group.
Okay, just for context, this is a 24-year-old British soldier that joined the Ukrainian, what they call the Foreign Legion, which is pretty much a combat group made up of European nations, the Americans. It's even some Judites out there foolishly fighting just because they think warfare is something heroic or honorary, just want to go out there and fight for their country, which that is not something that you want to do. If you Black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian, joining the United States military and being deployed overseas and fighting in their wars is something that you don't want to see. You jump in anytime we want, Karyash. Go ahead, play that.
Okay, boys.
The clean-shaven 24-year-old man.
Great car. It was very difficult. The situation was dire. At that moment, we were overmanned. They had a 2-to-1 advantage over us.
One thing about warfare, which is just completely different than the streets. A lot of people think, I've been around guns my whole life. A lot of people got Glock 17s or Glock 19s with a switch and a ladder attached to it with 30 bullets. Warfare, you fighting with 308 and 5.56 automatic rifles. You got RPGs, you got artillery, and something that's even more menacing nowadays, you got drones, something you can't even fight unless you have the technology to defeat it. A drone, you suffer a drone attack, it's like terrorism damn near. You fighting little tiny machines that drop from the sky and blow you up.
Right.
Warfare is something not pretty.
Right.
Go ahead.
The soldiers are heading towards the roof of a warehouse.
Hold the window on the left. Coming up. The window's there. Go, covering.
Russian troops are in one of those buildings across the road.
Top floor. I need one over here.
Jordan moves.
Jesus Christ.
Cover me from the bottom real quick.
Fire.
Take it down there.
Different when them bullets whizzing past your head, and any second one of them can end your life. Go ahead.
Slice, I had a question.
Go ahead.
So if I may, of course, you and of course Karyash would know. So based on seeing this video, I know they're called volunteers or the case may be. I just know they don't seem that trained to go to be in this warfare. Maybe I'm not seeing anything.
Okay, what I would say, that's why I want to play this video. This is real warfare. A lot of people think that everybody in the military is SEAL Team 6, and they stacked up in one line formation, one guy pointing that way, the other point. That's not warfare. Right. Real warfare is this right here. A lot of people that's in the Foreign Legion fighting in the Ukraine is former military officers or people who was in the military, got out so they can fight over in Ukraine. So 9 times out of 10, they are in the military or military trained. But war is not Call of Duty, is not Medal of Honor, Battlefield 6, Rainbow Six, where you just stacked up together and he watching that way. No, that ain't. It's chaos.
If I could, sir, what you saying is so heavy because hearing what we were witnessing right here is the International Legion, this Joint Legion, right? And you got to remember, these cats are coming from all across the globe and are being forced to fight all in one unit. So you over here, you got cats from the Ukraine, England, America, all fighting together like it's some glorious thing. But at the end of the day, you got to look at reality. All these cats got different tactical training. The way the UK trains is different how the Americans train, different how the Ukrainians train. And so you're putting them all in one boiling pot to basically get killed. You just using them to get more bodies. Even though me and him are from the American side, we have our own training that only works for us because you don't know how we trained. Y'all didn't train like the Americans trained. Y'all trained like the British. And that's what people got to realize, especially in warfare. It's another thing you got to realize as well is in times of war, like Officer Awalam said, in times of warfare like this, man, when it's all fine and dandy, until bullets are hitting the fan. It's all fine till bullets are right there whizzing past your face. It's a completely different story. And that's what we got to realize.
Yeah. Like Karyal said, when the bullets get to flying, you're not trying to stack up and be tactical. You hitting the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You hitting the dirt. So, it's just a huge difference from the perception of everybody's mind of what warfare is, and everybody in the United States Army has the same tactics as a SEAL Team 6 or Delta Force,
right.
Which that just isn't the case.
And if I could, so we do got people, brothers and sisters that have fought in wars. We got brothers and sisters that grew up in certain areas like South and Central America, where they did have to fight, with large, high caliber weapons and everything like that. But that, like the scriptures say, when it's talking about the dragon, which is the oppressor's military power, his might, is nothing compared to what we've experienced here in America. Of course, don't get me wrong. What we've faced here is traumatizing, is damaging to our soul, mind, being, body, and everything else. But when you actually step into this arena, which is real unconventional warfare, especially what they're going on right now in Russia and Ukraine, they killing civilians, they selling cats off into slavery, like they doing all types of stuff that is against Geneva Convention codes, everything. They throwing the whole book out and just going full regalia. So you gotta really look at yourself as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Are you ready for what's to come? Are you ready for this to come to your doorstep? Are you ready, or do you really want to be sent into this war?
Right.
Or do you want to fight the war that's meant for your people? August 31st, what was this Saturday? We fighting our warfare. We're gonna be in Gary, Indiana. Where we at, Raj? Outside alone. Where we at?
We're gonna be on Broadway and Ridge intersection, right there on that corner, passing out food and hot food and clothing to all those that's in need in Gary, Indiana.
Starting at what, sir? 2 p.m.
2 p.m. until we sold out.
2 p.m. until, man. That's your AR-15 right there, brother.
Everything's free,
man. Everything's free. That's where you need to be. Instead of you over here trying to fight for some oppressor that has slaughtered and oppressed you for so many years, your battle need to be in Gary, Indiana, Detroit. All these cities we've been thrown aside and had our warfare encased it. Well, that's why I had to say so.
Damn right. Let's get a little bit more of that video. If you could, Raj, for the when we plan a video, just put the video on the screen. You ain't got to put us on there.
Okay. But within 6 minutes, he will be dead. He fires more shots through the window frame. Some shots are fired back.
Hold that, if I could, just real fast. As you can see from this video and another false norm warfare, as you see from the video, a lot of the time in battle, you don't even see your opponent. They, not feet, but damn near a football field away, shooting at you with a high power rifle. This devil that got killed, he got killed from somebody in a building that he can't even see. He just know they're in the general direction. So that's another thing about warfare. You go ahead.
Over the radio, soldiers are being told to move down. You can see Jordan on the right of this picture race to the floor below.
Мы засрали! На 6-й этаж! He almost hit Jordan just now.
2, 1.
During the intense fighting, Jordan is hit.
That was close, man. Any call signs? This is black. We're on the 6th floor on the stairwell. We can't go down. Every time we go down, we get shot at the stairwell. How copy?
Jordan! Hey, so one down, we're pinned down. All right? One man down, we're pinned down.
Is Jordan down?
He's not responding. One man down, we're pinned down.
У нас один 300, у нас один 300.
Jordan!
The view from another body cam on the ground floor as other soldiers rush upstairs, knowing they're now within range of Russian bullets. As they turn the corner, they make a discovery. 2 stories above them, their comrades are about to hear news of what they just saw.
He's dead.
And just like that, he's dead. Nothing heroic about it. Nothing. A parade came. That didn't happen. You know, sparklers and things and something in your honor. That's not warfare. Warfare is you die and they keep going with the battle. And that's going to be the fate of a lot of Black and Hispanic sons and daughters, with some that shouldn't even be said. A woman going to war. So, you know, it's just something that our people should stay out of, seeing that warfare is hyping up and is going to continue to get more hot. Our people should stay away from the recruiting centers.
Right. If I could, sir, what you're saying is very heavy, because as Blacks, Hispanics, and Americans, we're not telling you you can't die with honor, or you can't go to war and die with honor. You know, of course, many of our forefathers did. It's all throughout the Bible. We fought in plenty of wars to keep our integrity and to keep the honor of this nation, right? But you're not going to sit here and fight for a nation with no honor and expect to die with honor.
Right.
America has no integrity. America has its lawlessness. It's full of evil, greed, and sin. So you're dying for a place full of evil and expecting to come back with a hero's honor for killing, or come back with a hero's honor for dying. That's just not going to happen. And here in the ISBK, there's men and people that put their life on the line, prepared to die for something better than themselves. For that crackhead on the corner that you hate so much, we willing to die for them. For those brothers and sisters that grew up without fathers and had to live at granny's house, we're here willing to die for them. For those brothers in El Salvador, Guatemala, the Dominican Republic, the brothers and sisters on the Native American Indian reservations that are forgotten about, we're willing to die for them. We're not willing to die for the Ukrainians. You could, send all the white boys over there you want. Send all the Arabians. Who else going over there? The South Koreans. Yeah. Send all of them over there. Go have them join your international legion. But as for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, let's come out here and help these barrios, reservations, and ghettos, and be willing to die for them, and be willing to love and live for one another. Because once we're willing to live for one another, man, we'll be able to change these barrios, ghettos, and reservations and turn them into a nation.
Damn right. Rash, you got something?
Carlos, I want to say what Carlos was saying so heavy about not fighting for America. You're gonna be unalive. They own people. You know, Green Berets, SEAL teams. They have a 90% of unaliving themselves.
Oh,
you know, and not to mention, sir, they families leave, so they get depressed. They can't get a job. Being in multiple tours, their own country can't even give them the honor that they want.
Yeah, that's an excellent point that you brought out, Ross. The suicide rate for military veterans is through the roof. If you could, Ross, let's pull up that second video real quick. We want to give an update on the war in Ukraine, let you know what's truly going on,
Oh yeah, because the Ukrainians winning right now, right?
So they say. So they say the propaganda of America will tell you that the Ukrainians are winning,
Right.
but that is not the case.
If I could, sir. And that's what you got. And if you want to look more into it, man, you got to look into the Cold War, the first Cold War. This is the second Cold War right here. And to help you understand propaganda, you got to look at the propaganda that was being told about the Soviets and communism during the time of the 60s, the 50s, all the way into like the early 70s. The way they painted Russia as like what's the best way I can say it? Like a third world country. When Russia was competing just as much as America with communism. But they'll have you believing that Russia was just insignificant and just a world full of idiots down there. When that the whole reason the Cold War was happening was because they were starting to meet America on a global scale when it came to warfare and nuclear weapons. And that's exactly what you're seeing right now. They don't want the world to think America's not in power. They don't want America to think, America doesn't have things under control. You got to remember, the Ukrainians, they all fighting with arms that America sent them. They're fighting with ballistic missiles that America sent them, drones, tanks, planes. So if the Ukrainians are getting they butt whooped, it's really America getting they butt whooped. Because they backing these nations. I mean, am I right or wrong?
No, you're right. You brought up some excellent points. America will paint the image as if Russia is insignificant in fighting because Ukraine is just a small country. Meanwhile, Russia is supposed to be this huge power. But think about this. America fought Afghanistan for 20 years? And never truly conquered that country. So America is saying Russia should have been defeated the small country of Ukraine. But meanwhile, America was in the Middle East and Iraq and Afghanistan for over 20 years and was not able to truly defeat that little country. So, it's just a lot of propaganda being played out. We're going to play 2 videos. Let's play this first video real quick, Raj.
The unthinkable for many Russians is now a reality. Their homeland invaded. Ukraine is seizing the initiative and new territory. From the air, Kyiv hits vital targets. Over the weekend, it destroyed 2 key Russian bridges. On the ground, these Ukrainian troops ambush several Russian soldiers. Surrender and come out, they command, capturing some of them. Kyiv's surprise attack is boosting the country's morale after months of losing ground in the east. Last night, President Volodymyr Zelensky said his country's objectives are to destroy Moscow's fighting capabilities and to create a buffer zone on Russian territory.
This is as close as Ukrainian troops will let us get to the border. We're in a village about 5 miles from Russia, and as you can see, the fighting has left no home untouched.
One Russian attack destroyed this house, injuring Oleksandr Timoshenko's mom, sister, and niece. The war hasn't gone anywhere, he says. The Russians moved artillery away from the border a bit, but now they use missiles and drones.
How do you feel now that Ukraine has pushed onto Russian territory?
I will only be satisfied when Moscow has burned down, replies his wife Natalia. But for now, they're just satisfied that Russians are finally tasting the realities of war.
Okay, you can pause that. So you can see here, America is giving off the visual that the Ukrainians are fighting and gaining ground because they went into a Russian, they're in Russia. The border of Russia is a small city called Kursk. So the big headline is that the Ukraine has invaded into Russia. Now let's get the second video.
If I could, sir. What's going to be another thing that's going to be interesting? If you know anything about history, they couldn't have chose a worse time to, if so-called, invade Russia, right? Because guess what's coming up in just a few months, especially out there in Russian territory? The winter.
Yeah.
Like if you know anything about history, Napoleon couldn't conquer Russia during the winter. Hitler tried to do it, couldn't conquer Russia during the winter. Now you just about to see a Cold War outside what I'm about to bring out with everything being propaganda and so on and so forth. It's gonna tie into that. But another thing, as they try to push on to Russian territory during the winter, it's gonna be a whole different hybrid. It's gonna be a whole different type of lifestyle and war life they're gonna have to live battling in Russia through the winter. If you ever learn anything about the Russians, is don't invade them close to wintertime. Invade in spring. That's when you really want to try.
No, that's an excellent point. What Karius just brought out. Probably I would give a 7 out of 10 times if Hitler did not lose the Battle of Stalingrad. I think he probably could have won the war, but he was in Russian territory, like Karius said, during the wintertime, which is like standing outside in Chicago in February with a Nike Jump tracksuit on. That's what it's like being in Russia in the wintertime. It's just a different beast. You got that video? All right, let's play this. Now, we just heard in the first video pretty much that Ukraine is whooping Russia's ass. Now, let's get a non-biased video of the true situation that's going on over in Ukraine. You can go ahead and play that.
Win the war after Zelensky made this critical military mistake that is leading to a complete breakdown of the Ukrainian front lines. Over the summer, Russia has been making steady gains into Ukrainian-controlled territory. The Ukrainian military has struggled to push the Russians back due to a lack of resources, as what little firepower they do have has been stretched thin across the 600-mile front line. It's gotten so dire that a report by the Wall Street Journal found that in most areas, Russian troops outnumber Ukrainian ones by 5-1. However, instead of reinforcing these lines with more troops and weaponry, Zelensky has done the opposite and taken hundreds of men as well as mechanized tanks away from the Eastern Front in order to conduct a seemingly pointless invasion into the Kursk region of Russia. This move has caused...
This is literally what Hitler did. This is point for from his playbook, what he did. If y'all don't know history, man, around what was it, 1942, 1943?
42.
I believe 1942. I believe late 1942 into going to 1943. Hitler took most of his forces from invading into Europe and moved them against the Russians. So you got to remember, during the way World War II started, he started invading Poland and all those little countries around that area. And he could have moved all the way. Of course, he was taking France, all those little, excuse me, pleb countries, for lack of better words. And then started moving onto other territories. He had a treaty with Russia at the time that they would be non-combatants in World War II. For some stupid reason, he decided to take the Russians, and he chose to take them right before the wintertime. Well, and the same thing he did, he took valuable assets and moved them into Russia. Same thing what Zelensky is doing right now, because they're idiots, man. One thing you got to learn when you come into this school and when you come into scriptures, when you talk about war in general, you got to look at history, man. You got to look at what makes you a good, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word?
Strategist.
It's good. A good, how you say it?
Strategist.
Y'all got to work with me. My I stutter. Strategist. You got to look at what makes you a good strategist in war. And the Bible will show you that. Many of our forefathers, the way they went to war with our enemies, David, all these brothers, Jonathan, they fought valiantly and with their mind. You know what I mean? Especially what you see going on out here in the Ukraine. They not fighting with their mind, man. They're fighting like knuckleheads. Because like I said, this is history repeating itself again. And you're about to see why it's going so wrong for them.
Yeah, pretty much what they're doing right now is a publicity stunt. It's pretty much to not show face of how poorly the war is going. Raash, if you could go back maybe 20 seconds on a video. You remember the last video that we just played was telling you how Russia is facing the Ukrainian threat on its border, which moved into the town of Kursk.
Right.
But that was just a publicity stunt, just to put out some sort of good news to hide the fact that the Ukraine war effort is going to fail miserably. Go ahead and play that.
Slaves, I was going to ask too.
Go ahead.
I want to ask, for the people who may not know about too much about war, but why is it so important that propaganda is put out for the people? Because they thinking they not at war, they're just working every day and just in the country. But why propaganda is so important in a war?
For two key reasons, propaganda is very important in war. For one reason is funding. If you seem like you're winning the war effort or you're fighting for a good cause, then you will be funded. A second reason is you can be canceled. Just like in Vietnam, the Vietnam War was canceled because of poor, I would say, management of what was being relayed to the people. What was being relayed to the people was, they're fighting a war that they shouldn't be fighting. They're fighting a losing cause. So the American public swayed pretty much the outcome of that war, which made the United States pull out of Vietnam because the American public was against that war.
Right.
So if the American public becomes highly against the Ukrainian war, they'll lose funding, they'll lose support. Ultimately, they'll lose the war. So now they're making this move into a pointless attack into Russian territory, which draws hundreds of men from key positions just to save face, just to probably continue to get some more funding.
If I could, sir. And that's why, you want to see a good example of propaganda. And I watch it every once in a while just to I could see the way they do it. Is watch American military films. Watch American Sniper, The Outpost, Fury. Look at movies like that. It makes you damn near want to be an American. That's the demon it puts on you. I want to die about, and especially in Blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans, because we have such a warrior-like spirit. Whether we're in gangs or the cartel or a militia, we want to live that warrior spirit that is inside of us, but we don't know how to activate it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we're the best in everything. We try to be the best wrestlers, try to be the best boxers, the best baseball players, football players, whatever it is. We try to be the best at it to activate our warrior spirit, not knowing that's not what's going to do us any well. And if you go look at those movies, those are perfect examples of propaganda. You go watch American Sniper, man, you're going to be ready to put a flag out, throw some fireworks out. That's why every few years, especially during election time, they put out many movies. Call of Duty is actually paid by the United States Army to make. Yeah, you can look this up. They get paid by the United States Army to help promote the military. So that's why they always talk about special forces, and it's always they never do no wrong. It's always they always they don't talk about the real horrors of war. It's always we the good guys. We coming in there. We clearing out house, we saving the day, killing the terrorists, to help be propaganda to America's youth. And who's America's youth? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Of course, you're going to have the white boys. They automatically going to join America's military. When it comes to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, that all they do is got to escape the ghetto is play a PS5, play an Xbox. That's going to do something to them. You know how many cats I knew growing up that are now Marines? There was this one cat I'll never forget. When I started coming into truth, I was trying to grow braids, and I would always ask him how did he do it, because he been growing braids since he was 9 years old. His braids was damn near down all the way down his back, and he had long braids. He had always get straight backs. And the day he joined America's military, I saw him, and his whole hair was gone. His whole culture was ripped from him. He looked like a completely different being. You know what I'm saying? He did not look like the man he used to be. Yeah, they damn near stripped his humanity from him. And I told him, I said, bro, you don't look the same, man. You look like a shell. You don't look like who you used to be. And Raj feeling some type of it wasn't like that. It was the fact why he did it for. You get what I mean? There's a spirit, and this is not for anyone that gets a short, maybe we got brothers in here that got waves and everything else. But it's for what the spirit behind it you do it for. If you're balding, that's different. If you just want to have short hair, that's different. But the fact that you cut your glorious braids off that your ancestors used to have, so you can go fight for an oppressor that hates you, that's the spirit that was behind it. And I saw the shell of the man that I once knew. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they say that they cut all your hair off. They cut your beard off to take away your personality.
Right.
In the military, they don't want you with a personality. They want you saying, yes, sir, and following orders, pretty much being a robot. Our culture of warfare is totally different than that. You're not cutting your braid. We're not telling you to cut your braids off. We're not telling you to cut your beard off. We're not telling you everybody in the army got to wear the same thing. Everybody in purple fighting with swords. That's not the Israelite culture.
Right.
The Israelite culture is we want you to have your personality because that's going to make you a better warrior. Right. We want you to get your preferred weapon and put on your preferred battle gear. That's our culture. Also, another point that you brought out, Karyash, is the propaganda and calling other people bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
We don't understand how much of a demon and witchcraft that's deployed by the United States military by calling some guy with flip-flops and sandals on who just woke up at 3 a.m. because somebody kicked down his door and is putting a M4 to his head, and you call him a bad guy.
Right.
They shoot him in the back and say bad guy down or something like that.
Threat down.
Yeah. And just constantly every time you put a certain person and you apply the bad guy to his image, is going to come into your subconscious as if he is the enemy, he is the threat. Witchcraft is something that sometimes you can't see it, but it's there. For time's sake, let's go ahead and get to this video. Did we finish? I forgot what we did. Okay, yeah, let's play that.
Tanks away from the Eastern Front in order to conduct a seemingly pointless invasion into the Kursk region of Russia. This move has caused mass confusion amongst military experts who all agreed that this invasion is a strategic mistake because it allows Russia to further press their advantage on the front lines, raising the possibility of a massive breakthrough that could envelop the entirety of the Ukrainian military, potentially winning the war for Russia in one decisive move.
If I could, sir, what's really heavy about this and everything that's going on is right now with the Ukrainians and Russia, what you about to see is other nations. Of course, they're already doing it with NATO and everything else, but other nations are going to have to get involved once Russia really starts beating into the Ukrainians. Like right now, they kind of just mollywopping them. They kind of just giving them a nuggie. They kind of just got them in the corner. But once they start beating the brakes, for lack of better words, the Ukrainians, and actually got them in a corner begging for themselves, then you're going to start seeing these other nations full force in Ukraine. Full force, because just like, and this is another thing about war, you got to go look at prior wars, and what causes wars is the fact that other nations will feel threatened. To the world, to the unseeming eye, it looks like, just Russia dealing with Ukraine. But if you look at it at a global standpoint, as a nationalist standpoint, as a point of view of nations, you'll see the threatening aspect of it. Because if they take Ukraine and they take all the previous territory that once belonged to Russia, what stops them from moving how Hitler did? Moving into France, moving into England, moving into everywhere else. And that's what's going to cause these other nations to start moving in their forces, not only through support wise, giving them arms and everything else, but actually pushing in to the Ukraine. You're going to start seeing the Ukrainians get help globally from NATO and all these other nations to help kick off this war.
Yeah, man, it's so many reasons why World War III is going to kick off. The Lord is just stirring a pot in so many fashions. World War III is going to kick off because it's a lack of resources. World War III is going to kick off because countries just plain out have bad blood in history and just don't like each other. World War III is going to kick off because of competition between superpowers. competition between United States and Russia. One wants to be on top. The other one wants to be on top. China wants to be on top. Even the UAE, United Emirates, whatever, the Arabs, they even want some support superiority in the race to be on top. It's so many reasons why World War III is going to kick off, and it's just nothing you can do about it but prepare your soul for what's about to take part.
If I could, sir, what you're saying is very heavy, because the Lord, he's setting this up like a chef, or like someone playing chess. Right now, we can't see the greater picture of it. If you're not in the school, you can't see the greater picture of it. Where you in this school, having the knowledge of the Bible, having the knowledge that the brothers in these schools, the generals, the captains, the officers bestowed upon us through the Most High in Christ, you can see everything moving like clockwork, man. To the right now, especially going on with these elections. Donald Trump just said if Kamala Harris get elected, she's gonna lead them in the World War III. He said this. He said no other nation is gonna respect her, and they're not. Who's gonna respect a woman president of the United States, right? So that's thing number one. Then thing number two, if Trump gets elected, the cat is too damn hot-headed. He's too arrogant. He said this countless of times. He think he gonna sit up there with Putin and call shots. Putin gonna get ready to drop some nukes. You can't no matter who you vote for, no matter who you try to pick, no matter who you think is gonna save you, it's not gonna work unless you're counting on one man, which you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, who is Yahweh Shai Mashiach in the Hebrew.
That's right.
Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you got to rely on your king to come save you. You can't rely on Donald Trump or Kamala Harris that's over here pretending to be black and I cook greens in the damn bathtub. That's not who you should be relying on. You should be relying on your king to come save you. That's our only hope, man. America has shown you for 500 years they can't save you. The scripture's saying in Lamentations in chapter 4, that we looked onto a nation that cannot save us. America not going to be able to save itself from World War III. I'm sorry to tell you, it's not going to be able to save itself from economic collapse and civil war and race wars. It's all going to happen, and famine. All that is going to go down. But as for you, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you got to look to save yourselves, man. And when I say yourselves, not just your individual selves and your family, but your nation. You should want blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to thrive the same way the Ukrainians want the Ukrainians to thrive, the same way the Russians want themselves to survive. That's our whole problem here in the United States of America. Us as blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, we made ourselves selfish for America. We became Americans. We put away our old names, our old culture, our old history to join ourselves to this beast, and they have given us no love. So now we got to take that love back and give it to those that actually deserve it.
Ross, you go ahead and load up that last video. We got Hezbollah and Israel. A conflict like no other.
If I could, if you watching as well, please don't forget to drop a like, comment, share, get this video out to all our brothers and sisters out there that are now ready for what's about to come out to this world, the water.
All right, go ahead and play that.
Israel and Hezbollah have traded strikes across the Israeli-Lebanese border. The latest round of attacks began early this morning when Israeli forces launched what it called a preemptive strike against Hezbollah targets in Lebanon.
Hezbollah says it launched more than 300 rockets and several dozen drones toward Israel. Hezbollah calls it the first phase of its retaliation for the recent killing of its top military commander.
As far as the situation in Lebanon itself, the official national news agency of Lebanon has described the strikes by Israel this morning as the most intense that Lebanon has seen since hostilities began last October.
Make no mistake about it. What occurred in Israel? What we going on 2 years now? What occurred in Israel with Hamas going into Israel with gliders and taking hostages and killing people and everything like that. It's not ever going to cool down ever again in the Middle East. Too much has happened for the clock to be rewinded. Now everything's just going to intensify. And what's so heavy about the situation right now that's going on in Israel? Israel is now fighting what they call a terrorist organization. Hey, who knows? What they called Hezbollah. Hezbollah is a so-called terrorist organization that's in Lebanon. Lebanon is a country that borders Iran. Iran is a powerful, has a powerful military on its own. But what's so important about Iran is Iran backs Hezbollah. And Hezbollah ain't just some Arab with flip-flops in the AK-47. They have a lot of military technology at their disposal because they're backed by Iran. So they have drones, they have missiles, they have rockets, they have manpower. And another thing about Iran is backed by Russia. So Lebanon and Iran border each other. If Israel invades Lebanon, Iran is going to feel threatened and they're going to attack. It's this situation that's going on right now. It's no way to rectify it. It's a they're on a course of collision. It's going to happen. Raj.
So yeah, so like so with that being said, so for who's being attacked again, if I'm not mistaken?
Okay, so Israel launched what they call a preemptive strike, meaning that they attacked Lebanon, who has a so-called terrorist organization called Hezbollah.
Right.
So Israel sent missiles into Lebanon to attack Hezbollah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Carl, so with that being said, so who's right now is backing Israel?
Israel is only backed by America.
Okay, Carl.
You know, and America is against Israel fighting
Hezbollah.
Yeah, they're against that. But at the same token, they still going to ride for Israel. But it's a boiling pot, and it's just going to take the right thing for the pot to just boil over. And before you know it, Iran is in this conflict. Once Iran gets in the conflict, America is going to join the conflict. Once America joins the conflict, Russia is going to join the conflict. So World War III is at your fingertips.
Right.
Go.
This is what I would advise for all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. I would advise that you get you a gym membership, take you a jiu-jitsu class, take you some shooting classes, get you a permit to own a gun, get you a permit to carry a gun, learn that weapon, learn self-defense. Christ said in the Bible, he who does not have a garment, he who does not have a sword, sell your garment and get you a sword. And now is the time for preparation for what's to come.
If I could, sir. That's why we gotta give a big shout out to the Hebrew Academy, man.
Oh, Most High in Christ.
The Hebrew Academy, man.
Most High in Christ.
Most High in Christ. The ISUPK since 1969 have been preparing our brothers to defend themselves and their households in the way that we've been trained since the time of King David and Jonathan, from times of Solomon. You know what I mean? Like Officer Alam just said, it's not a sin, man, to defend yourself. It's not a sin to have the want to defend yourself.
And
you
it's
see,
not
this
against the law either.
It's not, this ain't the Christian church, man. This ain't no Martin Luther Kingism going on there. If someone hits you with the brick, you better pick that brick back up and beat the brakes off of them with it. I don't know if I can say all that, but you get what I'm saying? Don't let no man throw no brick at you, brother. If a man slaps you, you better not just take that, brother. And that's what we teach brothers up in here. You have a right to defend yourself according to America's laws and according to God's laws. According to God's laws, a Black, Hispanic, and Native American is supposed to have a sword. It's supposed to have a weapon, Lord alive, you able to carry one with him and ready if the day needs be. Because Christ knew that the days were going to be darkened, man. It's all throughout the Bible. especially when Christ talks about the end of days. You go see about the end of days. I don't know why the Christian church always makes it sound like it's the time of Care Bears and unicorns and sunshine. The day of the Lord, like the scripture says, is a day of reckoning. It's going to be a crazy, horrifying day, and especially those days leading up to it. So you got to ask yourself, are you ready for those days? And not only are those in the world, but us in the truth. You have to be ready spiritually for those days. Maybe you're ready to fight. Maybe you benching 400 pounds. Maybe you a brother, that spends time in the range. But as us as brothers in the school, you got to make sure your faith is solidified, man. You look at brothers, here in the world today, we think our biggest battle right now is being able to pay the bills. Our biggest battle right now is not being able, put a blunt down. We got to look for the day and be prepared for the day that what if one day we can't get a can of food? One day where we have to defend ourselves and our family. That's what we have to look to, because the days are getting darker, brother. The days are getting longer, and it's getting darker, and it's not looking good for this place. And everything that you knew in America, like Commander Johanna once said, this place as you know it is an illusion. And the veil's about to come off of it. The curtain's about to come off. You ever seen The Wizard of Oz, where he makes you think he's some big, wonderful, powerful guy, and then they take the curtain off, and it's just some cat stand behind the curtain? That's what America is. America acting, puffing its chest out like it's so great and mighty for all these years. The Lord's about to pull it down, pull that curtain down, and show you that this man is nothing. And when that day comes, you want to make sure you're on the Lord's side, not that man's side. Because when that curtain get pulled down, you gonna get pulled down right alongside it.
Damn right.
That was it on that, right?
Yeah. Just one more thing I want to add. Like Karyash and myself was saying, you just want to prepare yourself. When World War III happens, it's going to be a strain on resources. The Saudis and everybody that's in the Middle East that owns all the oil, they're going to stop exporting that oil. Gas prices is going to rise up. Even food is going to become real scarce. Those farmers that provide beef and chicken and eggs and milk to the grocery stores, they're going to start hoarding that food. They're going to stop passing it out to the grocery stores, and they're going to keep it. The grocery stores are going to become empty. Once that happens, then Lord be with you. Most CIA analysts say within 2 weeks of people starving, within 2 weeks of starvation, cannibalism happens. People start turning to the Walking Dead. So us telling you to prepare yourself and take this class and get strong and work out and everything like that is just preparation for self-defense, which every brother should do. But the number one defense that any Black, Hispanic, or Native American Indian can have is the law, statutes, commandments, and the faith in Christ. You got anything, Karyash?
Don't concert. Only if I could, real fast, to build off what Officer Awolum is saying. Now, with self-defense or with everything going on, you got to have a strong body to rely on, man. You're going to see, especially in these last days, you're going to see a ton of groups come up. A lot of groups that claim to say they're going to be able to save the community, claim they're going to be able to save the country,
niggas can't save their own microphone in their hand,
right?
Let alone you.
Come on. You all see a lot of these cats claiming they got what it takes, man. But none of them are the Israelite school of universal practical knowledge. You got to remember this. We've been telling y'all this since 1969. We was on street corners in the 80s when the Berlin Wall was coming down, and it seemed like America and Russia were going to be best friends for eternity. People thought world peace was around the corner. Mike, you should have seen that Michael Jackson video. They had niggas crying and everything. They thought this was kingdom come. And they called us crazy for saying Russia's going to go to war with America. And now here we are in 2024, and everybody's like, when are they going to push the button? You got people talking about it every day. It's one of the biggest discussions in the election. What are you going to do about the global conflict? All these cats are talking about it because guess what? It's about to be at your doorstep. So you got to make sure not only, like Officer Awolum said, you in the right defense place and everything else, Well, of course, you're on solid ground, man. Like Christ said, "Woe unto the man that build his house on not good foundation." I'm paraphrasing. You got to build your house on a solid ground, on solid foundation. You got to build your family, your faith, everything that you have on a solid ground. And since 1969, no one has moved us off this ground, man. We've been the same since then, and we're going to continue being the same to the day our king returns.
And a nigga can't touch a chair, let alone a microphone around this.
He ain't wrong.
Nah, I'm only joking. This is the War Report, your monthly update for World War III and everything that you need to prepare yourself. This is episode 3, and we will catch y'all next month. Shalom.
Shalom.